So let's get started. I know there are many people who are watching online. So I'm going together. Actually, I'm using a couple different platforms to go to be live. Okay, I'm using here TikTok and a YouTube to help and reach as many people as I can. Okay. So I know there are few people who are. Again, if you have any questions, please go ahead and type in your questions so that I can I can use your questions and kind of like start my talk. Okay. Um, so once again, my name is Wasim Heather, and I'm a professor of mechanical and materials engineering at Central Michigan University. So in this video, I thought I should go on live and talk about the U.S. admissions and scholarships in the U.S. universities. Um, Nowadays, this is the month of October, and for October, November, and December, these are the 3 months where lots and lots of US universities are taking applications or are accepting applications um, for the coming fall semester. When I say the coming fall semester, which means I'm talking about August 2025. Okay, so if you are interested in applying for admission in the US universities for August 2025, right now is the best time to think, plan, and even apply. So I'll tell you in general few things which you should consider when you're applying. Again, if you have a bachelor's degree, a 4 years bachelor's degree, or in other words, if you have 16 years of education, then then that might be a good time for you to start thinking and applying. And if you have, I guess I missed the point. So what I'm saying is, if you have 4 years of bachelor's degree, then instead of applying for master's, you can, most of the program, you can directly apply into the PhD program. Okay? You don't have to have your master's. You can directly apply for PhD. That's number one. Secondly, I know many of the people are interested in scholarships because some people say, oh, it's easy to get admission, but I want to get a scholarship, right? I don't want to pay or I cannot pay, and I'm interested in applying for a scholarship. So I want to tell you that apart from Fulbright, I know many of you guys know about Fulbright and are interested in Fulbright scholarships, which is a great scholarship. It's a prestigious from the U.S. State Department. But I also want to tell you that for the U.S. Fulbright scholarship, you have to go back to your country after you are done with your degree program. Some people who would like to continue their further education or would like to get a job experience, they might want to stay in the US. So for those people, in general, if you want to do your master's or PhD, there are many scholarships which is offered by the US universities. Sometimes generally overall by the university, other times it is by the college. So when I say college, what I mean is like College of Science, let's say, which includes biology, physics, chemistry, and all the other sciences. When I say College of Engineering, which means electrical, mechanical, materials, civil, and so on and so forth. So, so what I would encourage you, there's two ways you can start your application process. First is, which is far more common, is directly approach a professor by writing him or her an email. Simply, it's a short, like maybe one paragraph email, simply introducing yourself and maybe asking them if they have any open position in their lab, or if you already know that they have an open position, then maybe you can talk about like what if they already have an open position, then you can talk about if they are available to meet with you, if they're available to meet you online or virtually. Try to set up a virtual meeting, in other words. That can be a great way to start. Or if you simply write an email to a professor and if he or she tells you to apply, I think that's a very good sign. So if they somehow encourage you to apply, make sure you apply. Don't wait. I have created a lot of videos how to get started, how to select a university, or even how to write an email to a professor. So most of those videos are on my YouTube channel. Again, if you don't know where it is, you can just simply type in Wasim Heather and in the YouTube, and then you're gonna see all different types of videos. But if there is a one video which I would like to recommend you to watch is how to apply in US universities. That's the place, or that's the video where I was sharing my computer screen to show you how you can apply, right? How to select a university, how to approach a professor, and how to formally apply, or even how to ask for application fee waiver, and so on and so forth. Then later on, I also interviewed many students asking about their experience on in general about admission process or scholarship process, visa, interview process, and and other details. But anyways, so as most of the schools are accepting their applications for fall 2025, which is August 2025, they are accepting applications in the month of October. Some universities may have a deadline in November, others may have a deadline in December. Most of the top schools, I would say, would have a deadline in November and December. Some other schools might still be accepting applications until January or February or later into March. But I would say the earlier you start, the better off you are. Again, you don't really have to know anyone. You don't have to know anyone to apply into US universities. Again, just simply write an email or just go onto the website and start filling up the application form. Again, if you're applying from a country where you don't make a whole lot of money, or paying $50 or $100 in application fees a lot for you, you can always reach out to admissions office or the graduate program director requesting them for the application fee waiver. Again, I have discussed when I was talking with students, various students, especially from Pakistan, I was talking to them and asking them, giving us some tips on how future students can request for application fee waiver. One of the simple ways is by simply reaching out to graduate program director or department chair or the graduate school and asking them that this fee which you are the application fee, which is, let's say, $50, $100, is half of my monthly salary, let's say, and it's a little too much for me to pay. Would you please waive my application fee? Just kind of short and nice email, be more realistic, and a lot of schools would be happy to waive your application fee. Okay, so and then another very important thing is GRE, right? Graduate Record Examination. Most of the schools after COVID are not requesting for GRE. Probably I'm going to be creating a video on specifically which schools do not require GRE. So anyways, we can talk about those schools as well, which are specifically waiving this requirement. But anyways, just to keep it general, many schools do not want GRE visas, which is great, right? Then comes to English proficiency requirement. Almost all the schools would require you to submit TOEFL or IELTS or Duolingo. TOEFL, test of English as a foreign language, that's conducted by the US. You can take that exam, or international English language testing system, IELTS. That's a great exam. You can take that one. Or not all, but many schools also accept Duolingo. Duolingo is fast, online, cheap, easy, and very quick. So if the school which you're applying to is accepting Duolingo, I would highly encourage you to take that one. Otherwise, TOEFL or IELTS you can take and apply. Now again, just be natural and just be original. Make sure, try to align your research interests with a professor, and which you can learn by visiting their websites, right? A lot of schools, when I say schools, I mean universities, right? A lot of universities, professors' website are up and kind of updated, so you can see what type of research they do and try to somehow align your research when you type in like let's say a statement of purpose, um, um, and so on and so forth. Also try to get a recommendation letters from your current professors or the professors who taught you. One second. Um, or try to contact professors who were your teachers, or if you're working in a company, then you can also submit letters. You can also submit letters from your current bosses, right? From your current managers or supervisors. That's also a great way to go. And even if you have your degree, let's say 10 years ago, that's okay. You can still contact those professors, and I'm sure they would be happy to write a letter for you. Okay? So you need to, in general, you need to submit 3 letters. You need to submit your, along with your application form, and you also need to submit your English proficiency exam. You also need to submit your statement of purpose. Uh, Again, these are not hard documents. It's type it in. Someone is asking me, as an international student, can I work in the USA? Yes, as an international student, you are allowed to work 20 hours on campus. You cannot work off campus, but you are allowed to work on campus for 20 hours. So please, let me see. I've done MPhil from Pakistan. Shall I need to apply again? You can, so if you already have an MPhil, then I would highly encourage you to apply for directly for PhD. Okay, I have received an email session from a professor from regarding PhD community. Could you please provide some tips? Um, So in general, when you receive an email from a professor who's asking you to appear in an interview or asking you to apply, I think that's a great sign. You should be very happy about it. So some of the things which you can do if you do get a response from a professor is basically what you can do is start preparing for an application, start preparing for a research talk. So in general, I would say that you should prepare a few slides, maybe 1 or 2 slides talking about yourself, and maybe few slides, maybe 4 or 5 slides talking about your past research, and then maybe another couple slides, 1 or 2 slides about your future research, right? Of course, you can always add a couple more slides, that's not a problem. But in general, you should have those slides as a backup just in case if professors asks you to talk about it. Or in other words, if you think that you are a good presenter, then even without their asking, you say, hey, you know what, I prepared a PowerPoint and I would like to talk about it, right? So you can also do that. If he encourages, yes. So Amir, yes, that's true. If a professor encourages you to apply, then you must apply. For some reason, the questions which you're writing just kind of goes away, and I can't really read them on the screen for a long time. So someone is asking that I have a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering. Yes, either you can apply for a master's or you can directly apply for a PhD program. Okay. Um, Yes, if you have electrical engineering degree, you can also apply for a communication engineering degree. That's also great. You can do so. Anyway, so going back to that thing, so you have to have your completed application form along with the statement of purpose, your English proficiency test, which can be IELTS, TOEFL, or Duolingo. You need to have 3 recommendation letters, and sometimes they may ask you to send your CV or resume. And again, for your CV and resume, I want you to know that those CV or resume should be of a US style. And I think I've talked many times about it, that those CV should not contain your personal information other than your name, email address, let's say phone number, and your physical address. No need to write date of birth, gender, religion, passport number, all the other personal information is not needed. You don't have to have that information, okay? Um, so these are the few things which I think you should consider when you apply. Um, Let me see if I have another questions on another platform. I need to have my documents. I want to fully fund a scholarship for bachelor's. Usually for bachelor's, it is hard to get a fully funded scholarship, okay? Unless if you're extremely good in your high school, in your A levels or your 12th standard or your intermediate, whatever you call it. Unless if you're really, really top candidate, then I also would recommend you to target state universities and also comparatively small schools. Then you will have a more chance. Can we apply without supervisor? Yes, you can. Of course, you don't really have to have your supervisor or someone, a professor. You can just directly go on the university website and formally apply. Complete the application form, submit all the required documents, and then you don't really have to talk to a professor. But again, it might be a good idea always to talk to a professor before you apply, because that helps you to kind of understand, and it also helps the admission committee to understand that you are genuinely interested and you have already contacted professors and you are in touch with them. Okay, let me see another one. Can I get a chance after 11 years study gap? Again, if you have a long gap between your studies, let's say you have done your bachelor's 10 years ago or 11 years ago, and now you want to pursue your master's or PhD, yes, it is possible, especially if you are able to support, if a professor or the admission committee asks you what you have been doing for those 11 years, right? You might be working and trying to get a job experience. Obviously, you may have some family things, or you are working on a project, or whatever you have been doing. If somehow, if you can relate that job experience or that gap, you were kind of preparing yourself for that upcoming degree, that would be excellent. But again, if you cannot support that, that's also fine. It's okay. You can still apply, right? It could be something like, that I really wanted to study and I got my bachelor's degree, and then for some reason, because of personal reason, family reasons, for whatever the reasons, I could not continue my studies, right? And then after the gap of several years, here I am once again interested in my studies. That's perfectly fine, right? We all are human beings. We all change plans. So it's okay if you have a big gap between your studies. What should I highlight in the statement of purpose while applying for your DPhil in the USA? Again, I have a videos, and in those videos I try to explain what are the items or what are the things which you should highlight in your which you should highlight in your statement of purpose. Okay, of course, your background, your passion. Why do you want to study? Why are you interested in particular university or a particular program or a particular professor? So it needs to be a little bit more personal, right? It's about you. You don't need to write something very general. You want to write about yourself and why are you interested in this degree program. So these are the few things, and then I've explained other things in my videos on YouTube. So you can watch the statement of purpose video. Another question I have is, okay, let me see. So I'm doing my PhD in mechanical in China, and my research experience is related in 6 months or yes. So again, if you are studying in China, you're doing your PhD over there, and you would like to come to US for 6 months or 1 year. Now there could be again many, because US has hundreds of universities, right, and thousands of professors. I'm sure there must be at least hundreds of professors working in your research area. So you need to contact them, and you need to explore some options, right? It's not like you write an email and then you'll get it. You need to make sure who is gonna sponsor that trip, right? Who is gonna be paying for your living expense when you come to US for the 6 months, right? So either your current professor is gonna pay, your professor, I mean your professor in China, or your university in China, or your professor in the US, or his university or her university, or you're gonna pay for yourself, right? I mean, again, think about it. Like, for example, if someone from China asked me that, hey, I want to come in and do like a part-time work in your lab, I was like, why do I need to hire someone, right? Unless if I know that they have a great research profile, they have a great publication, they have been in touch with me, or I met them in a conference, or I know them. Other than that, I think it would be hard for me to take a risk. So so it's always good to get in touch with the professor and try to have some sort of a plan that who is going to support your 6 months during your stay, your living expense, and so on and so forth. Once you figure it out, let's say if you have it, or if your current professor is supporting you, then it might be a little bit easier. But sometimes, I mean, US professors might also accept you for a short time as a visiting scholar, as a visiting student. But again, you need to try it, and you have to carefully move, carefully, like, write an email and plan accordingly, okay? Um, okay, someone is asking, I've completed my MS and awaiting graduation next year in June. Can I apply now? Yes, that's very, very important. You don't have to wait. Again, to apply for PhD or master's in fall 2025 or August 2025, if you want your studies to start in August 2025, you need to apply now, between now and within the next 2-3 months. That's the best time to apply. You don't have to wait. So in general, you have to apply 8, 10, or 12 months in advance before you start your degree. So you don't really have to wait for your current degree to receive it. You can go ahead and apply, and without, of course, you will only be able to continue your studies once you have your degree in hand, because once you come to US, or sometime maybe in June or July, before you start your program, they will ask you to show your degree, right? If you're not able to show your degrees, then they may cancel your admission, okay? Um, yes, so you can apply for those PhD programs, okay? Let me see here. So, okay, for the introduction, 2 slides, past research 2 slides, and future research 2 slides. Is there anything else I should include? Um, yeah, okay, Osama, I think it's a great question. So you're having about 6 slides. Make sure, of course, the slide number is maybe you, again, your slides needs to be very comprehensive and very well thought. You need to know exactly what you're going to be talking. I mean, you can write, again, those slides should aid you, should help you in terms of whatever you will be saying in that research presentation. Uh, but obviously, your current research, or like your past research, what research you have done, and what accomplishments you have, that is important. But at the same time, your future research, some people might be interested in your past research, other might more be interested in your future research. But I think in general, you got the overall, like a kind of how you put together all this package, right? Couple slides about yourself, couple slides about your previous research or past research, and couple slides about your future research. I think that's a great way to go. So let me see here if I have any other questions. Oh, I'd say 5 messages. I'm not sure how to look for them. It shows me 5 messages, but okay. I have a bachelor's degree in procurement and supply chain. Can I manage for MPH program? Yes, you can. That should not be a problem. You can apply. Can you please skilled worker to get a scholarship in the USA? Again, I'm a university professor, so I try to encourage people to study, right? And I try to help them. Yes, there are many ways where you can come as a skilled worker. One of the very nice program is NIW, which is National Interest Waiver. You can go ahead and Google that one. You will have to submit. You can be anywhere in the world, and you can apply for that skilled immigration or as a skilled worker. So for that one, you need to complete the form I-140. You can Google that form I-140. You will find two things. One is a form, and one is the instructions how to complete that form. You can complete that form, submit all the required documents in very, very detail, and you can apply for that skilled worker immigration visa from anywhere in the world. Okay. Let me see what else I have. Okay. Okay, I think I can see your message. Ali Hamza is asking, I wanted to pursue my master's in corrosion and materials. I need to know if any profession certificates such as those would be useful. Again, if you have any kind of certification, yes, they can be useful, right? That shows your commitment, that you have spent time and you are professionally certified or accredited. So I think that's a great way to go. Shai Dusan was asking, I'm preparing for my articles for ASME conference taking place next year. They also invite presenters in the US. Yes, I think that would be a great way to come to a conference, to ASME conference, and meet with professors, especially if you want to study. Shafqat Ali was asking, I want to apply for PhD programs after BS. How would I? Again, Shafqat, as I explained before, you can directly apply for PhD. And Amir, thanks for helping Shafqat to apply. Again, there's a video I made on how to apply to the US universities, how to apply in US universities. If you watch that video, take notes and let me know if you have any questions. I would be very happy to help you. So let me see. Again, I'm looking at screens and trying to see, trying to read and trying to ask as many questions, and answer as many questions as you, as I can. Imran Khan was asking if we can directly apply. Yes, we can. We can directly apply. Is it necessary to get a letter of recommendation from associate professor? No. You can get the letter of recommendation from assistant professor or from associate professor or from a full professor. That's not a problem at all. You can get a letter, whoever taught you, especially in your bachelor's or master's degree. Or if you are working as a researcher, you can also get the letters from the researchers and scientists whom you're working for. Can you please list some of the universities? Let me see here. Can you please list some of the universities where there were application fee waiver? Also, my research experience, and I don't have any published paper. Okay, you don't have to have any publications before you apply for a master's or PhD. If you have, great. That's very, very helpful. But if you don't have it, not a big deal. You can strengthen your application by focusing on other things, right? Such as your work experience, high GPA, internships, anything else, right? So those can be very helpful. And also, there are, again, as I said, if you watch my, there are, I think, 2 interviews I conducted. There were 3 boys. I was interviewing them, and in that video, I was specifically asking them how one should apply and request for application fee waiver. I would recommend you to watch that video. And in that video, very quickly, they were giving tips on how you can approach graduate program director or graduate school and apply for application fee waiver, right? That's number 1. What else is there? Let me see here. Again, there are so many messages and it's hard for me to respond all of them. Yes, I think whatever the research experience you have is great. If you include a professor to work with your SOP, is it necessary to reach out to such professors? I think it's always a good idea to be in touch with the professors, but again, if you directly want to apply and don't want to get in touch with the professors, that's perfectly fine. That's not a problem, right? It's not an issue at all. Is it fine to cover a two-study gap with a job experience letter? Yeah, that would be great, Samin. I think that's perfectly fine. It's a great idea to cover. Okay, want to apply for PhD? My GPA is less than 3. Masters in chemical engineering. I think overall profile is average. I secure a fully funded PhD in precision. Let me see here. In medicine. What are my chances? I'm sure. I'm sorry, I didn't really get it. So you were able to get a fully funded scholarship in Italy, and are you talking about getting a fully funded scholarship in the U.S.? I'm not sure what your question is. You can clarify it, but all I can tell you is even if you have a low GPA, but if you are a strong candidate, right? Strong candidate means if you have other things to support your application, and if you are fully passionate, if you're really excited about that PhD, I think that can help you to get into the PhD program. I've also created a video on how to apply with a low GPA, how to win scholarship on a low GPA. While if you want, you can further specify your, elaborate your question. I'll take another one. I've completed MSc and having 12 years of 12 research articles, but most of them are not in the peer reviewed journals. My professor told me that not mention this work in your CV. Again, if I mean, you can, okay, instead of just writing maybe all of them, you pick your best ones, I don't know, best 5 of them, and try to show them, because at least it still shows that you have written those articles, you are the first author or second author, and you have taken that time to submit those articles. So it might be a good idea, especially if all of them are not in a non-peer reviewed journals. Maybe your professor is right, but I would still include few of them just to kind of show that I have done some work in the past. Okay. Let me take another one. Walaikum assalam, Aisha. And saying, I have a question. Can we do Duolingo test instead of as it says? Yes. A lot of universities in the US are nowadays accepting Duolingo. So whichever the school, whichever the university you are applying for, make sure that they accept Duolingo. If they accept Duolingo, that's great. Then do apply for it. So in other words, it means that you have to first select universities before you take Duolingo to make sure that they are accepting Duolingo, right? Okay, let me take another one here. Let's see. Okay, Anas is asking, I'm applying for PhD in hospitality management. I contacted a professor in Purdue and he encouraged me to apply and he told me that you have a great experience. I think that's, this is exactly, if you look in the chat, this gentleman was asking, he contacted a professor and he's encouraging him to apply. It definitely means something. Usually, US professor would not tell you to apply. I mean, if they think that your background is not good, they would not encourage you to apply. So if they are asking you to apply, if I were you, I would definitely apply. But again, when you apply, unlike in many, many countries, I want you to take time. I want you to be thorough. I want you to be as precise as possible. Meaning, take your time. Make sure you read all the questions in the application form and carefully write them. Carefully write the answers. What I mean is to be comprehensive and to be precise and be careful is when you write a statement of purpose, take your time. Don't write like last night and then you quickly apply. No, take your time, read it, review it, have someone else, have your professor, have your sibling, have your friends, someone who's good at English, ask them to review it, revise it, leave it for a few days, go back, read it again, correct it, right? and then use that version to apply for admission. Um, Similarly for recommendation letters, I know a lot of people complain that, oh, their current professors are not responding, they are not able to submit letters. What I would tell you is contact professors 2 3 months in advance. Imagine if you contact them now but you're applying 1 or 2 months later, you know the application deadline. So it's okay, try to contact professors as early as possible so that they can give you letters on time. Okay, you're very welcome, Anas. Yes, many universities take IELTS band of 6. Your GPA is fine, Naveed. 6 is not high but not low score as well. So some universities may ask you to submit 6.5, others may take you at 6. Again, if still that an issue, go select the universities and make sure that they're asking for 6 or higher. But if they ask 6.5, then you can take Duolingo, and I'm sure you will do better, right? You will have a more experience now, so you will do better. What type of questions should I ask the professor during the session regarding assistantship in a life of a PhD student? Again, that really depends on you, Sama, what kind of questions you have. Um, there are, like, the questions, I don't know, you can ask questions about research, you can ask questions about, in general, how do a research assistant in your lab work, like how many hours they work. Do you guys send your students to a conferences, yeah, in your state and in other states, right? You can ask them about experimental work, you can ask them about theoretical work like modeling and simulation, you can ask them in general life questions: is this city safe, is university safe, right? You can ask them questions about, is the stipend enough to survive? You can ask them questions, if you are coming with your wife or husband or kids, you can ask those questions. It's perfectly okay till the time you are natural, you're real. That's why it's important to brainstorm. I'm glad that you're asking this question to me, right? But I want you to think about it, and I'm trying to answer you as much as I can. But let's say if I'm a professor and if I'm interviewing someone, I would look at the questions, how genuine or how serious that applicant is, and how he or she's asking me those questions, right? So those are important. Let me take a few more questions here. Um, I'm applying for MS in geology, geophysics. I have 1 year of experience and GPA of 2.75. I'm doing Duolingo, give GRE. Give it 1 second here. GRE, our colder states have good chance of acceptance. I wouldn't say colder, but anyways, you have a GP. Your GPA is slightly low, right? 2.75. You need to strengthen your application by, I don't know, by showing your research publications, or by showing your commitment and passion, or by being like, ask a professor, by asking right questions, by giving a great research talk. I was if you look at one of the interviews where I interviewed 3 boys, right? I was asking him. He's like, I applied first time, my application got rejected. I applied the second time in the same school, same department. My application got rejected because of a low GPA. And he was like, I applied third time, and I told them, I'm really, really interested in research, and I would like to do my PhD in this department. I'm ready to appear in an interview. I'm ready to give you a research talk. So if you show your interest and passion, and then I think he took an interview. They took his interview, and he got selected, and he's performing great in his PhD. So yeah, you have to show that commitment and passion, right? What are chances of F1 visa, Islamabad embassy, graduate research assistantship? Again, if you're honest, if you're real, uh, don't be scared, don't be shy, just be natural, be real, be calm, do not speak any lies. Sometimes in some country it's very common, people lie about small things or big things. Just be honest, just be straightforward. Um, I think you will have a very high chances of getting acceptance. Okay? Okay, let me take a next one. If a professor doesn't respond, can I still apply for school? Yes, you can still apply for school even if the professor does not respond to you. Okay. If you are the third author of publication, then include, yes, yes, whether you are first author, third author, fifth author, 10th author, not a problem. You can still apply, Raymond. Um, okay, let me see here. Okay, any other questions or comments? I'll be just here for a few more minutes. Because I haven't, I was just very busy with my teaching and research, and I didn't have a time to be live. And I'm also learning about to go live and doing all those things. So it's also hard for me. Sometimes I make a lot of mistakes and so on and so forth. But does 1 year gap affect your F1 visa? No, not really. Again, we all are human beings. We can have shortcomings or gaps or anything. Till the time you can explain and be honest about it, why did not you study? If you did not study because you didn't get admission, that's okay. If you did not study because you were not feeling well, that's okay, right? You must not be doing some illegal activity during that 1 year, and then, you know, that's not good, right? What are chances of Pakistani students getting admission into the US universities? Samin, it does not matter if you're from Pakistan, India, Uruguay, Paraguay, China, Japan, wherever you're from, it does not matter. Admissions are not on the basis of nationality. Admissions are on the basis of who is applying, how is your GPA, how is your English, how strong you are, how passionate and interested. I think one of the most important thing is how passionate and interested you are into a PhD program. Okay, so those things are important. Um, yes, want to apply to USA. I have several certificates from Google, IBM, McKinsey, and foreign job experience. What are chances of low GPA? I was able to secure one in Italy with this profile. I think you have a good chances, especially if you have a lot of certification, if you show that you are interested, if you are passionate. I think you have a good chances. Okay. Anyways, with that being said, thank you so much for listening to me. Um, and I hope to see you next time in another live video. Or again, these videos are for the people who are interested in pursuing bachelor's, master's, or PhD degree in the US, and I try to help those students who are not in US, who are abroad and trying to get into the US universities. Of course, now that if you are in US, I won't be able to help you, but I would. I'm trying to encourage people to get education and so on and so forth. Thank you very much, Dean and Martin. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you guys listening to me, and Osama is asking, is the university ranking important? Yes, Osama. Of course, university ranking is important, right? Um, I sometimes I joke. I say you can change your name, right? But you can't change the name of the university where you graduated from. So if you're a graduate from a good school, famous school, then of course they have a much bigger and larger network of alumni, so you can get connected with many, many people, right? Um, so again, yes, the university ranking is important, but you also have to rank yourself to see where you fit the best. If you're an average student and applying in the top schools, of course your chances are low, right? So you have to try to see your profile and the ranking of the universities to get the best fit. Hari is asking, which university do you teach? Well, I teach in Central Michigan University in the United States. Osama is saying, thank you very much. You're very welcome. You learned a lot from me. I appreciate that. I am trying to share my knowledge as much as I can. And anyways, with that being said, thank you very much, you all, and I hope to see you next time.